Hey, good evening, and welcome to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem, where I will be giving you my picks, my advice, my suggestions, and my lineup in what is going to be a bounce back week 6 for the DFS Sweatshop and for the DFS Jerusalem itself. I'm here with my lovely co-host, the beautiful, the talented, the 7-month-old, avid Giants fan, Victor Cruz loving, salsa baby, Carly Simone. And first of all, above all else, I'm a dad, I'm a father. I have 5 children. I love them all. This is my youngest. She's a Giants fan. She's gonna grow up to love the Giants, hate the Knicks, but be a Knicks fan. Yankees, whatever. I'm originally from New York, so that's how I be rocking. But let's jump in to the NFL slate for the week. Now, the first game is going to be a Thursday night game, and it is Denver at San Diego. Now, normally, my first inclination would be to avoid Thursday night games, but so far this year, we've seen a lot of points scored, and it's been kind of easy to pick who is going to be the top scorer in that game, get him or a couple other players like him who are going to score a fair amount of points in our lineups, and then tweak and adjust with the rest of the week as we see fit, depending on what kind of value open up or what injuries may take a hold to a roster. So last week, if you all paid attention, you started David Johnson. Some of you, if you were really sharp, you started David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. Well, this game, because I don't want it to be an overall avoid for me, I do want to see some points scored on Thursday to get that fantasy itch off of me. There's a couple players who I think she's ready to be a part of the show. Here we go. There's a couple players who we think are going to be really, really good plays in a Thursday night game. Now, the first of which is going to be C.J. Anderson. Now, when we talk about the San Diego Charger defense, they're at home, it's a division game, they're going to play tough, but the one thing that they can't do is stop the run. So I feel like if you were to go anywhere in this game, it's going to be C.J. Anderson. It's the safest play. It's going to be the most cost-effective play, because if you're looking at starting a quarterback like Trevor Siemian or Paxton Lynch, whoever of those 2 quarterbacks are going to play, I think you could be in trouble, as well as you start San Diego's quarterback, Phillip Rivers. And you heard that? She doesn't like Phillip Rivers. You don't like Phillip Rivers? You gonna turn your head on Phillip? Okay, cool. So we already know we're not starting Phillip Rivers. Now, in my season long, I've got Melvin Gordon. He's gonna be on the bench this week in favor of. Well, I'm still waiting on James Starks and Eddie Lacy news to come out of Green Bay to see if they're going to be playing against the Dallas Cowboys. But, all right, the San Diego game, it is a -3 in favor of Denver. Denver's giving up 3 points to the San Diego Chargers. It's a 45-point total. That is ultra low when you're involved in one of the league's top offenses. We're talking the San Diego Chargers. So, to me, I'm not going anywhere in this game on the passing side of the ball. Like, I'm not rostering any receiver from this game. The only play that I think I'll be making out of this game is going to be C.J. Anderson. So, moving on to the next game, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals gaining 9 points against the New England Patriots. What do you think about them? Yeah, you can't deny what Brady's been doing, man. The first game back, I mean, he hooks up with Martellus Bennett, 3 touchdowns, gets Chris Hogan involved. Gronk got a piece, Julian Edelman, everybody's involved. So, Brady this week, I think, is a really good play. He's going to be a part of our stacks talk that we're going to have later on in the week once we get a little more news about injuries and see who's in and who's out. So I really like Tom Brady this week. Cincinnati coming off getting beat the way they did by the Dallas Cowboys, which was a big surprise to me. I didn't see that coming. I kind of like Brady this week, even as a one-off. If you just want to start one quarterback and don't pair him with anybody, I think Brady's always deserves to get a decent, fair look. On the other side of the ball, now you got to remember this is a -9 in favor of New England. So if we're looking at more than a touchdown's difference, you got to know that Cincinnati's going to be throwing the ball. I kind of like, see, and Bill Belichick, he does such a great job at getting the most targeted, like the best opposing player from the other team, taking them out of the game. And we saw what Brandon LaFleur was able to do last week. I don't want to go there again, but I do think that being behind in the passing game, I think Giovanni Bernard is going to be a kind of good pivot play from those who are going to be starting Jordan Howard in that same price range. So I kind of like Giovanni Bernard in this game. They're going to be down, they're going to be passing. So I kind of like Giovanni Bernard in the spot. Next game I'm going to move to is my New York Football Giants. We're going to be home against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, there's a lot of bad blood between the Ravens and the Giants because they kicked our butt in the Super Bowl. And that's just the way it's been. They've been very close, Baltimore, New York. So it's kind of like a rivalry, but it's not really. But the Giants are giving up 3 points to Baltimore. I don't know how we're giving up anything, playing as horrible as we've been playing. Odell Beckham, we finally saw him get in the end zone. Steve Smith may be out possibly with an injury. So when it comes to the receiving side, I'm not sure which way to go. I know if there's any way to beat the New York Giants, it is between the front line and the safeties, the middle of the field. And Steve Smith, if he were definitely playing, he'd be somebody that I'd be starting definitely against the Giants. I would definitely start Steve Smith against the Giants. We look at Dennis Pitta, he may be another option for us. But on the other side of the ball, New York Giants, you know, Eli's been playing horrible. I think the man might be hurt or something and not be trying to lose this consecutive start streak or something. I don't understand. He's not throwing the ball well. He's not throwing the ball crisply. He's not throwing the ball with accuracy. It looks like he still hasn't really grasped the offense. I don't even know if we have the personnel to run that same Green Bay style offense that we had, so I'm not rostering anyone from the Giants. Odell Beckham, his price point is fair considering he came off a game with a touchdown, and he's probably going to score another one, but I just think that there's going to be more value at that position for less price. So I'm not touching anybody from the New York Giants, or for that matter, too much from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Terrence West can be an option because New York, we're not very good against the run. We are prone to give up, 100 yards a day. But we saw Eddie Lacy last week was on pace to go over 100 yards until he got injured in that third quarter. So moving on to the Carolina Panthers at New Orleans. If you're one of those people that subscribe to, hey, when Drew Brees is home, I'm starting him, then you might want to fire him up in this game. Carolina Panthers pass defense has been very porous so far. They've actually been one of the worst pass defenses in the league. Their weakness is in the secondary. They got rid of Bené Ben-Rickery and started a guy off the practice squad last week. And Tampa Bay was able to have their way with them and end up winning the game by a field goal. So if you want to start, if you want to start them, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to go Willie Snead, if you want to go Brandon Cooks, who I think can really make some noise on the inside of that defense, I like him. I like Drew Brees this week too. On the other side, now Cam's going to come back with a vengeance. I love Cam Newton this week. He's somebody who, I put in close to 100 lineups a week. I'm going to have some shares of Cam Newton, and I'm going to have him stacked with Kelvin Benjamin. I'm going to have him stacked with Greg Olsen. If New Orleans do what we think they're going to do on their side of the ball, if he is at home and he's going to be putting up points, then you best believe Carolina's going to be able to go step for step with them offensively. So I like Cam Newton. I like Kelvin Benjamin this week. This could be a possible game stack. It's a 53 over under. Oh, how you feel? Just got word from the co-host. How you feel? Who you like? Who you like? Who you like? You like Cam? You do? You like him? Okay. Yeah, I like Cam Newton this week. He's going to be in a lot of my lineups. So we're going to move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers giving up 7.5 at Miami. This is the game I think is going to be a trap. I think everyone's going to get sucked in to paying top dollar for Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell. Not so much Antonio Brown, because at $10K on DraftKings, that's a pretty high price to pay for a wide receiver, where you could probably get that same amount of value for a little cheaper price point. Now I've got Antonio on my season long, so I am fully invested in him, but I just really don't see him having that that huge 1,600-yard season that we've been looking for. It just seems like the offense is not dialed into just feeding him the ball. Big Ben is moving the ball around. Last week we saw Sammy Coates really go off. Who I was on him. I was all over him. That was a very sharp play for a lot of us. We were on Sammy Coates. I liked him. And Miami, if there's one thing that you can do against Pittsburgh, you can pass the ball. So I do like Jarvis Landry. We still are waiting on word to see if the running back situation is going to be ironed out. If Arian Foster comes back healthy, then it's all solved. But until then, there's like this four-headed running back monster in Miami that I'm not going to touch that. They are at home. It's a 47.5 over/under. That's a nice point total on the week because it's actually one of the second highest point total that we do have in the week. Number one being the aforementioned game, the Carolina at New Orleans. You like this game? You like this game? All right, my co-host may have some feelings about this game. We're going to check back later and see what's going on. The next game is going to be the Chicago Bears at home, giving up 2.5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a 47-point over/under. I think this is the week all the Brian Hoyer stuff stops. Do you agree? I think this is the Brian Hoyer week. This is the Brian Hoyer dud week. And that's how it happens in DFS. The first week, nobody's on the guy. The next week, a couple people get on the guy. He does well again. The next week, everybody's on the guy, and he flops. I don't like Brian Hoyer this week. I didn't like him at all. I definitely don't like him this week. Jordan Howard, on the other hand, he's shown that he can kind of be that workhorse back in that offense and really get it done. So I like him this week. I gotta say that I like Jordan Howard this week. On the Jacksonville side of the ball, who's going to be doing the rushing is going to be Ivory, just getting the red zone carries. Is going to be Yeldon getting the carries. We're not sure they really figured that out yet, but I do like Allen Robinson in this game. Anytime they're going to be against the Chicago Bears at home, giving up 2.5, so they're not favored. I like them. I like Allen Robinson this week. The next game we're going to move on to is the Buffalo Bills, giving up 8 at San Francisco. This is going to be a game a lot of people I think are going to roster Colin Kaepernick because they think they're going to be on the inside track or something special. But I may have a couple shares of him just because I don't want to miss the boat completely if he does have a great game. And I think at his salary, I mean, what's he got to do to return value? He rushes a touchdown, gets 50 yards rushing, 150-yard passes, and a passing touchdown. He already crushed value. So I am going to have some shares of Colin Kaepernick. Now, the problem is the Buffalo Bears defense has been really the Buffalo Bills defense has been really good as of late, and they're also running the ball well. Shady is really getting involved. They don't have a number one real passing threat, so they've been relying a lot on the run, which slows down the game, and it's not going to be a bunch of big quick strikes the way we saw with Marquise Goodwin, what he did a couple weeks ago. So I think excuse me, I'm sorry. I think the only surefire plays from this game are going to be Jordan Howard from the Chicago side and Allen Robinson from the Jacksonville side. On the Buffalo side is going to be Shady, of course, against San Francisco rush defense, and it's going to now Curly came up big too, but I'm not falling for it. I'm not buying it. I like Carlos Hyde a little bit in this game as well, and Colin Kaepernick. Again, they're going to be running that read option, so we should see a lot of plays. You got to start somebody from the Buffalo offense because Chip Kelly runs so many plays that there are going to be so many opportunities to score points, and if you had to pick one player, it's going to be Shady. Moving on to Detroit at home against the Los Angeles Rams. Detroit is giving up 3.5. I don't know how because they have been sucking. I've got Matt Stafford in my season long, so I am somewhat invested in this team. I have been on the Golden Tate train for the last three weeks. I actually traded for him my season long. I wanted that correlation. I wanted that stack, that season-long stack, something to take me all the way to the end, to the money, and it hasn't worked out yet. I do think Golden Tate is a 1,000-yard receiver. The fact that he hasn't come even close to being on pace for that yet leads me to believe that at some point he's going to right the ship. Jim Bob Cooter is going to understand that he has two receivers on the team, not just a running back and Marvin Jones, and he's going to get the man involved. So, again, I am taking my chances with Marvin Jones, especially with Detroit at home. I think that Matt Stafford is going to have a pretty good show. Now, you got on your feet for Golden Tate. What do you think? Golden Tate. I like Golden Tate. Golden Tate? Maybe she. Maybe she doesn't like Golden Tate. I'm starting him anyway. All right, so next game is going to be the Tennessee Titans at home against the Cleveland Browns. Mariota last week. A lot of folks have been playing him. I know it finally paid off for him last week. Mariota is not a horrible quarterback. When he got Delaney Walker back, was able to move the ball, throw a few touchdowns. I think he even rushed for one. This is against Cleveland, so anybody's in play against Cleveland. She's crying. She feels bad for the Cleveland Browns. They suck. You gotta like DeMarco Murray in this game. He's been actually a DFS MVP, a season-long MVP so far. If we had to end the season right now, he'd get a trophy because he's been running his ass off, playing really good football, rushing the ball. So I do like DeMarco Murray, and of course Delaney Walker, unless we can find some more value at tight end. Philadelphia. The next game is Philadelphia Eagles -2.5 at Washington. This is a division game. It is a 45-point total. Kind of a pick 'em with the -2.5. Washington can light it up when Kirk Cousins is on. He hasn't really been in the zone all year long. I don't trust rookie quarterbacks as much as other people do, so I'm not going to be looking to roster anyone in this game. The only person that I might think about is Jordan Reed once the injury information comes out, because I know he was limited in practice Tuesday. He was limited in practice Tuesday. I think it's a knee or something like that. So we'll revisit that and see exactly how that goes. The next game is going to be the Oakland Raiders, pick 'em at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a 47-point total. I like Alex Smith this week. I like the overall Kansas City passing game. And I'll tell you who my super deeper sleeper trapper keeper is this week. I love Jamal Charles. I love Jamal Charles this week. I'm going to have so much Jamal Charles in my lineups. It's a gut. It's a hunch. It's something from the DFS Sweatshop. That is my play over the week. That's going to get me off a couple of other players. I like him this week, especially against the Oakland offense. The Kansas City defense has not been what it's been over the years. They're going to score some points. I like Alex Smith. That's my stack. I like Alex Smith. I just said a running back name. You're making me forget. I like Alex Smith. I like Jamal Charles. And I like Jeremy Maclin. I'm going to be stacking them heavily. They're going to be all over the place for me. Now, the next game is going to be Seattle Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons. This is at home against Atlanta Falcons. This is a -6.5 in favor of Seattle. You're giving Seattle points. I'm not too sure about that. Atlanta is probably the hottest offensive team in the league, with the exception of Oakland. They're pretty hot. The Atlanta Falcons are pretty hot. In the last few games, if you had started the Atlanta backfield, you could have gotten to the money with just that. I think that stops this week. I like Seattle in this game. I like Russell Wilson. I like Doug Baldwin in this game. And I really like Jimmy Graham to do well in this game. Moving on to the next game is going to be Green Bay at home against Dallas. We talked about that a little bit. We got to wait on the injury news to come out and see what's going on with Eddie Lacy, because if Eddie Lacy doesn't play, that's going to open up a tremendous amount of value for this week's slate. We're talking James Starks is going to be probably the chalk at running back. We got Ezekiel Elliott on the other side, and Green Bay they've they're pretty good against the run. Now, is Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboy offensive line so great that they can combat that and still do well? I think so. I like Ezekiel Elliott this week. I like both running backs in this game, whoever they may be. If it's Eddie Lacy, I like him a little bit, but I love Starks. If Starks is going to be the running back, because he adds an element of the passing game that Eddie Lacy really hasn't exhibited so much so far throughout his career. Next game is going to be the Houston Texans at home, -3 against the Indianapolis Colts. I like Will Fuller in this game. I also like Brock Osweiler, and I like you don't like him in this game. You want someone there? Oh, that's what you wanted? Okay. I also like D-Hop, the bus back. I like Nuke, the bus back, and really set a season on. We've been looking for that big game from all the receivers. You know, Antonio Brown kind of struggled a little bit. Odell struggled a little bit. Dez is still in his struggles. These guys are going to have those big games that make you feel like a genius when you roster them week after week and it finally pays off. So I do like Nuke this week. On the other side of the ball, T.Y. Hilton is very tempting. He's very tempting. I was on him a little bit last week. I had him in, let's say, 10% of my lineups. I should have paired him with Sammy Coates. That would have really proved to be good, but I couldn't pull the trigger on him. So that's the one play in this game that I would like. Actually, I kind of like the Houston defense in this game. I think that they can put on a really good showing at home. The last game is going to be a Monday night game. It is Arizona at the Jets. Arizona at home facing the Jets. And Arizona is giving up 7.5. You can fire up David Johnson. He can be the late week hammer, the one to bring you back after you're down a little bit. I like him this week. I also like Enunwa because we know that Eric Decker is out for the season. Enunwa is going to give us some good value there at the wide receiver position. I even like Brandon Marshall a little bit. We still have to wait for the concussion protocol because we know that Carson Palmer had attended practice. He just got cleared to practice. So there's going to be a good chance that he plays in this game. He's got an extra couple days with it being a Monday night game. So I think that we really could, we could go Carson Palmer in this game. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick as a late weekend hammer. It's going to be a really good DFS week. I will be back with you to discuss players the closer we get to the lock of the Sunday games. And I want y'all to stay safe. A hurricane just passed through here in South Carolina where we are, and we are fine. We are back home. We are look. We are fine. We're back home. We're together, and I'm gonna be posting more videos. Thank y'all. You have a wonderful Thursday. This is your DFS Jerusalem. Follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. This is my lovely co-host Carly Simone, and we are out.